Now, Matt, I gotta admit, I was kind of surprised when I woke up this morning. It said that your great episode of JGB. Does that mean you'd already listened to that? We literally released that super late last night. Have you already listened to that today? I know we normally talk about MGB, but
MGB, JGB back to back.
oh wow, okay, so we got a little bit to talk about then. I'm trying to remember exactly. So MGB, I believe, was the Mission Pro Wrestling. Because we wanted to see a little bit more of Thunder Rosa, and then JGB was the last episode before Bragging Rights 2009, and we did the watch along with Gail Kim as she got to win the first ever Impact Knockouts champion. I think that's correct.
That's correct.
All right, how many notes have you got today then? As many notes as Jay had for his last match on JGB. He's like, I got 10 notes. He talked for like 30 seconds.
10. Right, okay. I shall start with MGB and then go to JGB afterwards, okay? First note is Mason, wake up.
He had his head down. He was like goofing around and he was like yawning beforehand. And I was like, he's like, I'm not asleep. It wasn't ready. He wasn't ready, that was for sure though. So I was calling him out.
Apparently you can't tell time. Mason called you out on it.
I don't remember what that is in reference to.
It was like 20, 25 minutes long. That was 5.
Oh, I had the wrong notes. That was the problem. I had something in my notes. I had reference to one of the people who was in the match, but forgot that it wasn't actually the match that we were reviewing at that point. So yeah, I totally messed up on that one. Yep, I put my hands up to that. It's a fair cop.
Okay. The rating for Big Swole may be partially down to the terrible booking of AEW's women's division.
She's not a 4. She's had matches for the championship, so it's not like she's had low matches or anything. She's been strongly this year. She has a good record. Oh, sorry, last year, I guess.
Doesn't mean the bookings have been good, and that can really affect the ratings sometimes. You may also have some salty people.
I think we have a lot of very salty people, because if she was 6 on the Indies, she didn't suddenly become a 4. She's got a lot better since she was on the Indies as well. So I think there's a lot more salty people is probably more of the reason than the booking necessarily. But I think they've booked her pretty strong, actually. They've made her look really good.
Surprised to hear about bites in the match. Not exactly the best etiquette in the current climate.
Actually, it just happened on Impact as well. Eddie Edwards, I watched quickly the highlights. It was the number 2 moment. Eddie Edwards bit, oh gosh, I can't think of his name. I can only think of his WWE name. It's Brian somebody now. I can't remember what his name is. Yeah, him anyway. No, agreed. Not very good etiquette. I actually thought you were going to call me out on something when I didn't know how Big Swole got her name, but Mason knew instantly why that was her name. I thought you might call me. I thought you were going to come out with some granddad comment or something and make fun of me for not knowing the cool lingo.
I don't know either.
Okay.
Champions usually do come out second. Sometimes they do come out third. But as you say, it's usually to cut a promo, so I don't know what they were doing here. Mason perfectly described a tilt-a-whirl head scissors, not a hurricane rana. Not meaning to sound harsh there, but it's close
you
enough.
Like everything to be correct, we know that.
It's close enough that I can see what a mistake I've made.
Well, luckily I think I might get away with some on JGB, because I'll often bluff if I don't know what it's called. And unless you actually watched it, you won't know.
Mason describing the commentator. What he did there was describe my podcast style, which you always hate on me for.
Are you talking about Holiday?
In terms of a good commentator will not just talk about the wrestling, but will talk about other stuff, go off on tangents, tell stories. I'm like, that's what I do.
Yeah, but we have a very clearly defined parameters. When there's a wrestling match and nothing's going on, you can't just not say anything. You gotta fill the air a little bit. We can always edit short. Like, if we want to do a 40-minute or an hour 20, we can decide how long we want to go. As a wrestling commentator, you have to go for as long as the matches go on for. So you don't have a choice for that. That's why you'd make the perfect commentator.
I appreciate his kind words. Royal Rumble is available for box office for £20, including after the events. Why would you pay for it after the events already happened? As you said, I don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. I don't get it either.
And I am begging you, the three of you, please stop talking about hand egg.
Why?
It's boring.
Oh, we talked about, I forgot. I wonder why I thought you just meant the phrase hand egg.
No.
Howard Jackson, he came down and started talking about that, I think.
No.
No, it was Mason who started. He mentioned one thing, and then he heard Patrick Mahomes, and he came in and joined. And I was going to edit it out, and I was like, no, because JJ actually came in and joined, so there are always special moments when he comes in. So you'd rather us just edit that out, then?
I'd rather you all saved your breath and not bothered in the first place. Right, okay. On to JGB. Okay. These brothers are so similar. Both of them said, that's being edited out.
Yeah, they definitely.
Love these boys. Okay.
AJ wanted to edit, but unfortunately, yeah, he didn't do his schoolwork, so we kind of started really late, and then I was like, no, look, I need to get this out tonight, so I was like, I'm doing the editing, which doesn't involve any editing with him, because everything he says, if he doesn't like it, it's normally funny, so it's staying in anyway, so it's literally clip, put in between the music, and it's staying.
Okay. The backflip facing forwards.
This one's more relevant because, I know why this was a problem. We recorded on Martin Luther King Day for MGB, so it's like 2 weeks since I've heard this. I literally recorded less than 12 hours ago, so this is very fresh in the memory.
Very, very funny, very, very funny. The Kelly's move, which you weren't so sure about. You apparently say it's called the Kelly Killer. I know it from a wrestling game, because obviously you can recreate the characters.
Yeah.
It's called the K2, which I guess was named after Kelly for that reason.
KK.
It's the rocker dropper. That's what it is, the rocker dropper.
It didn't look very effective.
It was formerly used by Marty Jannetty. Basically, it's a famouser.
Okay. Yep, I've heard that.
In Basic. Yeah.
But it looked like a combination of, it looked like it was going to be a stomp, and then there was no pressure on it, but it kind of looked like it was just her foot. So it was kind of like a half leg drop, and it was in between. It didn't look, to me, it did not look very effective.
The reason why HBK got over Engineer didn't. Right.
I guess so.
Gail Kim, she won the Women's Championship on her debut in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's also very true that she did become lost in the mid to lower card after she lost the title. So they really didn't give much thought to the division at one point. And you mentioned about the Divas Did You Know section about the pictures and things, what reviews. That segment right there exemplified the entire nature of the division at the time. It was more important seeing them in their skimpy clothes than seeing them wrestle. And that's
an amazing figure, though. 100 million photographs looked at in a week. And this was before you got your phone, or if you have your phone, Matt, you're not looking at pictures in 2010, because it just doesn't have that capability probably at that time.
Some of them did, but they took forever load, obviously.
I guess it shows how much of a novelty that was, though, at that time. I don't know how many of their Instagram pictures get looked at right now, but I thought it was an interesting stat. But I was really upset that they didn't do the Ask the Diva section. I was that better not have gone away, because that's one of my favourite things that I've enjoyed with the Superstars section so far.
I'm not sure. I didn't watch Superstars.
Okay. But we talked about it. It's just kind of a magazine style, and it's kind of a little entertaining, and you get to hear a little bit about them, and some of the takes are pretty bad, and yeah.
I'm actually enjoying some nostalgia with you guys going back and doing things. Mm-hmm. Right. Goldust with the kick to the dingo, or the pee-pee, as Jackson calls it.
Well, Jackson's normally, it's, hey homie, I can't remember what he said, I can't remember what his phrase is right now, but he has something slightly different to Mason does, but yeah, when he said pee-pee, that kind of, I was like, I wasn't expecting him to say that. Hey homie, here's your doodle or something, he has his own little phrases, but yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, Goldust, the movie itself is called The Shattered Dreams, for obvious reasons. Very sensible to stop recording to eat, though. Very sensible to stop recording to eat. Always.
He literally had dinner less than 90 minutes ago. To give you the time chronology, so you know, we didn't have dinner until it was about 6:05. I know it was after 6 o'clock, because I have lunch very early just because of my school timing, so that's a long gap for me. I'm somebody who likes to eat every 4 or 5 hours. And, about 7:20 is like, oh, can we stop it? I need my snack.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
You didn't when we were in at WrestleMania weekend.
I didn't say I couldn't do it. I just said that it's just tougher to do. Well, there's more distractions then as well. When you just sat waiting, when you got a match to watch, it's a little different. But yeah, 7:20 is like, can you stop it? And I was like, no. I was like, we're going to finish the end of this segment at least. I was like, as soon as we record, he's like, what time is it? He's really specific. Like, he thinks he has to eat at 7:30 for his snack. Like, it doesn't matter. If he'd had dinner at 7, he would still have asked for his snack at 7:30. If he'd have had dinner at 1 p.m., he would still ask for that snack at 7:30. It's just something that he thinks that's the one feature of his day that cannot move. All the other ones can move around a little bit, but that snack has to be at 7:30 for whatever reason. But he was quick. He went upstairs, and then I was like, all right, we'll be pausing for like 10 minutes. And he came down literally 1 minute later, and I thought, oh, he's bringing his snack with him. And I was like, what? He's like, oh, I just had a yogurt. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, wow, you must have gone, like, scooped it in super quick. But yeah, it wasn't much of a delay, I'm pleased to report.
That's good. Right, back to the wrestling side of things. Eric Escobar.
Yes. Vicky Guerrero's boyfriend.
I wrote these notes before you brought your research up. He didn't stick around very long.
No.
He really didn't get over. He was probably one of the biggest flops in SmackDown history.
Must have been.
Which is a shame because he looks the real deal. He looks the part.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't work.
Well, it's not like he brought it on himself, like with backstage issues. Did you see the picture that I posted on the Good Cop, Bad Cop Twitter feed? That was posted on the WWE actual page. It was embarrassing what poor quality that picture was.
He wasn't good, unfortunately.
There was no way. People could... Now, I couldn't figure out, could people not tell who it was because Eric Escobar was so insignificant relative to WWE? Or was it just it was such a bad picture you couldn't tell anyway? So I couldn't quite figure... If I find more of those, I'm going to look for more. I'm going to go and find, did they post lots of terrible pictures from that era? And that could be a regular Good Cop, Bad Cop segment on perhaps a Thursday or a Friday. Guess the wrestler.
Maybe. Right. Matt Hardy was going through a phase wearing those black and blue tights after he turned heel on Jeff at WrestleMania that year. So he started wearing black and blue tights, much like AJ Styles wears. So, Jackson, well done, good spot. Right. Time for me to chastise you again.
Bring it on.
You were very harsh on Jackson.
I was?
You had asked him to explain what the match was for the watch-along, and he said, it's basically a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
You explained, and I'm going to do this word for word. Entering at specific intervals, you eliminate by throwing over the top rope. That, sir, is a Rumble match. It's not exactly one, because it does end with a pinfall or submission to win it, yes. But basically, Jackson was right.
Alright, so do you obviously missed the other part of it? This wasn't a Rumble match. This was a gauntlet match. The gauntlet match is not to throw somebody over the top rope. That's not what a gauntlet match is.
No. You asked him to explain what this match was like, and he explained what his match was like.
Well, I misspoke then. Because I was talking about the gauntlet match, and I asked him what a gauntlet match was. Because he didn't know at the time, and Mason explained it to him. We talked about it in the car. because that was the question I was going to ask him, because then I was going to find out. I was like, hey, so having watched this, why was this not a gauntlet match? But he didn't know what one was, and I said to Mason, don't say anything. And I was like, actually, no, go ahead, explain to him what it is. So he did explain it to him, and then, yeah, that match was nothing to do with gauntlet at all. But yes, it was definitely more Royal Rumble-esque than, obviously they can't call it Royal Rumble, I understand that, but you don't have to call it Gauntlet. You could have called it the Regal Rumble, or you could have come up with anything that you wanted to. Over the top rope challenge. Like, you could come up with anything, but it definitely wasn't a gauntlet match. Well, in that case then, I apologize to Jackson if my question was not specific enough. But we had talked about it off air that we were gonna talk about why it wasn't a gauntlet match.
In any case, from what I heard at the time, but Awesome Kong has been in a Royal Rumble match.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
She was responsible for eliminating Michael Cole, and she even gave the implant buster to Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, wow. What year was that?
2011, I think.
Oh, it might.
It was after WrestleMania 27, so it may be maybe 2012.
I think you're right. This next one's 37, so that's right.
Okay. Christy Hemme, she won the first ever $250,000 Diva Search.
Oh, did she? Yeah, I could believe that.
And she wrestled Trish at WrestleMania 21, the Women's Championship.
I definitely saw that match.
Under Lita's tutelage.
I did not know that side of it, though. Yeah, I went back through a lot of those WrestleManias, and yes, I remember seeing that one, but I couldn't remember chronology exactly, and when she kind of left for Impact. Yeah, I embarrassingly, I'm trying to remember who we interviewed. The Cabana from Dan interview? Yeah. He has a friend who has a name very similar. I think his friend's name is Chris Henney, or something like that. And he's talking about that. I was like, oh yeah, I just saw one of her matches. That was the one I was talking about that you just talked about with. And then after we recorded, I was like, oh my gosh, he's talking about somebody totally different. So, alright, I guess we're wrapping it up then, right, Matt? Is that good?
I do have 2 other points to mention, but we can talk about them later.
Alright, perfect. Boom.